field, which may be a more cost-effective way of doing it than planting, than harvesting the grass. Although, harvesting the grass, selling the silage, that does make quite a sizable income boost every year. Beep beep beeps. I will check those. We are not going to cultivate any more fields right now, but I will position myself on the side of the road here. Actually, we park it in the parking lot and go and have a cup of tea with the animal dealer and have a look at some cows and what have you. Alrighty, I'll turn that off. We'll jump out. I'll go around the back. Now, it's starting to rain. I just got a message on my phone. Excuse me while I check that. Hello, this is somebody. Yes. Tuesday the 9th. Yes. Okay, so that was Basement Inspector. He will be here on Tuesday at 4 PM to have a look at our basement. Now, the next thing we might as well do while it's raining is take a look here. See if there's much in the way of new stuff. How big is that? That's 8.2. I think ours is about that big. Ooh, look. Big giant poop truck. That's cool. 550 horsepower. It could be time to start looking at self-propelled things. Obviously, we need animals before we do that. I am going to speed up time a bit, because we need to get to about 6 o'clock in the evening when the rain goes away. But we do have a lot of money now. Or we have a little bit more money. So that'll see us through a couple of days at least. I left the lights on. That was silly. Turn the engine on again, so that's good. There we go. Turn the lights off. How's the time? 1 o'clock and 293 hours. Actually, that's not a lot of stuff. And weather. Weather. 4 o'clock. The rains will stop within the next hour. Possibly, maybe. And I did see this morning on YouTube, I didn't get a chance to watch it because I was running a little bit late, that the first videos of deformable ground have been released to YouTube. So after this episode, I will probably be going out onto YouTube to look up videos on deformable ground, just to see how that works. We've got there is the potential here that because giants are doing confirmed irrigation for rice, maybe irrigation for other crops, and deformable ground, that we may end up with something that does moisture levels in crops or moisture levels of the ground, so that I would not be able to do this for at least another hour or two because the ground's too wet. I'm not sure why we're going so slow. There we go. But it's something that Rain Pain and the Mud mod combined to do, which was the Mud mod will cause you to sink into the ground if it's raining, and Rain Pain extends the effect of rain based on, if you're playing with seasons, an hour of time after the rain stops per days per month you're playing. So because I'm playing 4-day months, I would have to wait until 9 o'clock in the evening in order for the Mud mod to say, okay, the ground's not wet, I could, you can go ahead and do your things. Now, unfortunately, I was playing with both of those mods, but I got a mod conflict which caused basically the game to crash. And I removed the Mud mod, and it still crashed, and I removed Rain Pain, and it stopped crashing. So at that point, it was like, oh, I'm going to have to play without both of those mods. I could probably put the Mud mod back in. It may have just been Rain Pain that was causing the problem. Yes, there's a... Come on. Oh, that's better. So yeah, it's something that could be done, and if Giants incorporated the Mud mod, which maybe that's what they're doing with deformable ground, is it's basically going to be an extension or a lateral step of the Mud mod. And if they also incorporate Rain Pain, i.e. keep moisture, keep track of moisture, so that you will have moisture levels in the ground after rain, so you can't immediately get out there and start driving on fields without causing ruts and damage and what have you, then that would I would like to see that. And it's a potential of something they could include, but obviously no announcement for that. The other thing with irrigation is, if you're tracking all of that stuff, crops could have ideal levels of moisture, and so if you don't get enough rain during the growing season, and if you don't get enough sun pre-harvest, then your yield could be adversely affected. But if you've got pivots in the field or underground irritation or drainage or something like that, you can help alleviate those problems. That would be an interesting addition to the game. It would be difficult, I think, and they would need to include a do you wish to play with deformable ground and moisture and drought. One of the easiest things they could include is pests and pesticide and potentially plant diseases. Actually, that's something I learnt last week, was apparently canola is now a difficult crop in the UK, and it's because if you watch Millennial Farmer or some other US farmers, The seed is treated, it has a colour coating on it, which includes pesticides and herbicides and what have you to ensure that the seeds get a good start. In the UK, they've just made that illegal for canola crops. So now there's nothing a farmer can do, at least my understanding is, there's nothing a farmer can do to give their canola a boosted start, because the UK government has basically said, no, you can just plant the seeds and take your chances. But then over in Europe, there's a lot of things that governments are doing which long term is going to destroy their ability to produce food, especially their ability to produce enough food for the people that live there, let alone exporting. The other thing I've heard this week is the European Parliament has passed some legislation that basically says if you want to sell stuff in Europe, you have to do all of the environmental protection stuff. Now, I'm not saying protecting the environment is a bad thing, but basically things like you're producing food, you can't use nitrogen on your fields because nitrogen's bad for the environment, but it helps my plants grow. Yes, but you can't do that. And you can't, you have to do all of the carbon capture. If you use electricity, you have to make sure that your electricity production is green. And you have to certify, you as a seller in Europe have to certify that your entire production chain is obeying these laws, which big companies can usually absorb to a certain degree because they can have an admin team that goes around, researches this stuff and makes sure it all happens. And that's not a problem, but they've said basically anything you get from anywhere in the world, your entire production must be. So because Ford has presence in Europe and makes cars in Europe, 100% of their production must obey the European law. So all of the cars produced in America have to follow that law. Their production facilities have to follow that law, but also the production chain. So the company I work for produces steel for Ford that Ford uses in America and Canada to make cars with. We now have to certify everything we do because we sell stuff to Ford and Ford sells stuff in Europe. Not only that, if you are a little production facility with 10 people that make widgets that Ford uses in their cars, or widgets that a radio manufacturer uses in their radios, and that manufacturer sells radios to Ford, you also have to comply with that law. In spite of the fact you've got 10 guys making widgets and you running the company, and your company is working quite well, thank you very much, but now you have to do a butt ton of paper form filling and what have you, and changing your production so that you're capturing all your carbon, and you have to go to your power manufacturer and say, excuse me, is my electricity green enough? I need exact details on that because I have to tell the European Union all about it, because Ford sells stuff in Europe. So, big knock-on effect to pretty much everyone in the world. So, and of course, current administration's probably not going to do anything about that. Oh, it's going to cost more to make stuff. Then you have to fill out forms and send them to Europe. That's fine. Trump might have an argument with that if he becomes president. He may turn around and say, what you do with your laws is your own lookout. We ain't playing in your ball. Yeah, we ain't going to force our people to play in your ballpark. And little Joe widget manufacturer has absolutely nothing to do with Europe. He doesn't export anything to Europe. You can leave him alone. And of course, the other point is, what do you reckon China's going to follow these rules? Or are they just going to lie? Or are they just going to tell Europe to pound sand? Either way. Europe is heading back to the Stone Age at this rate. Assuming they don't get taken over by adjacent countries. Be they countries east of them or countries south of them. I did hear that there were major riots in France day before yesterday. The news was out yesterday, so I'm guessing the day before yesterday. Because of the rise of the extreme right. And it's like, you know why people are voting for those guys? Because the status quo isn't working for the natives. You see it to a certain degree in America, where, oh, we'd much rather give housing to people who weren't born here, haven't settled here, don't have any papers to say yes, they have a right to be here, and we'll give them money and we'll give them welfare and we'll give them free medical. And oh yes, those people who risked their lives to protect America and are on the streets because, you know, war does bad things to people's minds. Well, they can just live on the streets and we don't care about them. And, you know, people look at that and just say, what are you guys doing? Aren't people who risked everything worth more to the US government and deserve to be taken care of than people who have no allegiance to the country and just came here because it's a thing. Let's go there, get paid, back off. Now we have to go to field 4. Where is the entrance to this? Oh, over there. And again, we've got into some weird conversational topics, but, you know, you can. I am always very wary of someone who stands up and says we need to get rid of immigrants. I'm an immigrant. But some of those people are mid-early 19th or 20th century German philosophers. And yeah, I don't want anything to do with that. But there are a whole bunch of people out there saying that government is instituted by the people for the people, not instituted by the people to look after the rest of the world. And if government is not looking after the people, government ain't doing their job. And the problem we have is, I mean, in the UK, Labour just won. a landslide, huge swing, and the problem is that the Conservative Party is not any different from Labour. They're pushing the same policies, they're just not pushing them as intensively. But the end result is Britain is not in a good state. And it's, a lot of people say, oh, it's because of the Conservatives. It's like, no. Tony Blair started most of this, and the Conservatives didn't do anything to stop what he put in place. And so, it was started by Labour, but Conservatives' policies are just Labour light. They didn't go quite as full bore, but they didn't get rid of them. They just let them continue. And that's why England is the way it is today. And unfortunately, you're not going to, all of the disasters in England are because of the Conservative Party. No. Yes, they are, but do you think Labour's going to make any difference? Because I don't, because they started it. The Conservative Party just didn't do anything to change it. So, yes, England is going to get worse. And it's going to take, sometimes you look at it and you just say, well, Labour winning the British Parliament is exactly what Britain needs, because once the people go through 4 years under Labour and things get intensively worse potentially, they'll see that, well, our saviour isn't the Conservative Party because they're not going to do anything about it, but also Labour isn't, is just doubling down on everything as well. So you need an alternative. Same with America. The Republicans don't overturn bad Democrat policy. They leave it in place and try and fix it. And trying to fix it isn't always the right thing to do. But, I have very little care. If I wanted to be a politician, if I wanted to be in politics, I'd have been a politician. And frankly, I wouldn't want to be a politician because people with good ideas are suppressed by the establishment, and the establishment is two sides of the same coin. I think someone said, political parties are the left and right butt cheek of the country. There's no difference. They all do the same things. And as much as all of the riling up of the populace to say, oh, the Conservative, the Republicans are the equivalent of the Nazi Party. No, they're not. If you sit down and look at exactly what they do and don't believe the crap you're being told, the Republicans are doing exactly the same as the Democrats. It's just that they have different colour ties. But the policies that end up getting passed, it doesn't make any difference. There may be some pet things that a party pushes for, but on the whole, it is anti-people. And the people vote for this. You can look at it and say, well, we need, if only this party had complete control. If only the complete party had control, they wouldn't have any fear of the people, because they would make it illegal to be any other party. As soon as you end up with one party in control, total control. It's illegal to be a member of the other party. It's illegal to vote for anybody not in the party. And at that point, your democracy is lost. I can turn the lights back on. It's that time of day. And as I said on Thursday, I will always trust a politician who tells me the truth, even if I don't agree with him. I know what he's going to do because he's declared it and he tells the truth. The problem is most politicians lie through their teeth, and you're never going to see what they claimed they were going to do. And yeah, post-debate, we've heard nothing from establishment media except, oh, Trump told a lot of lies. Yes, he did. He's a politician. So did Biden. Oh no, he's good. It's like, no, he told lies too. It's just that they're lies you want to hear, so you don't pay attention. And I am... Yeah, I'm not up for that. I think in the UK I ended up voting twice because I was never in my home district for polling day. Yeah, I might be away at a college or I might be on the road for work, and so you have to vote in your constituency. You can't visit any constituency and vote for what's on the ballot there unless you're registered there. And also you need ID. Which is quite novel and something that the rest of the world doesn't understand about America. And then since I've been here, I think I've been able to vote in 2 general elections. And I've never voted for the president. Or I've never voted for the guy who became president. Indeed. So how are we doing here? 6:30. It's still quite light. Oh no! And there's more rain coming. I'm guessing we might be looking at rain in another 3 to 4 hours. Bring that up. Stick it on cruise control.